This is part 7 of our smart card videos, tips on winterizing the Alfa See Ya. Our 2003 Alfa See Ya came with smart cards to get the new owner up and running while they got acquainted with all of the features in the motorhome. One thing they didn't cover was how to prepare the coach for winter storage. This video is going to cover some of the basics of this process. While we haven't had to do this, we had a request from a viewer, Mike Smith. He sent us an email. Now, this is not something that we normally do. We live full-time in our Alfa, and we've been staying in Southern California where winter, such as it is, only lasts a couple of weeks at the most. In fact, in the 3 years that we lived in the coach, we've only seen temperatures drop below freezing at night, and then the day was well over 40 in the dead of the winter. So with some research and crawling around in the basement areas, I've identified the areas of concern and some of the basics of winterizing. Draining the water out and drying the lines. Disconnect the city water if it's connected. Turn off the water heater to let it cool. This is important. The water in the water heater is as high as 140 degrees Fahrenheit and can cause serious burn injuries. Don't open the water heater drain if the water coming out of the faucet is more than warm to the touch. It's good to turn off the gas at the tank now as well. Under the kitchen sink is the drinking water filter. This valve closes it off, and then take the filter out and with a pan below the filter mount, open the faucet on the sink. This drains out the water in that line. After cleaning the filter housing, put it back without a filter. That way if any antifreeze gets into it, you can clean it right out. Leave the valve closed until the lines are drained. The ice maker to the refrigerator has a hose going from the solenoid valve to the ice maker that will need to be drained, and from the main water line to the solenoid. There's a valve there. When this is drained, close this valve. All of the water should be drained out of the freshwater tanks. Yes, I mean tanks, as in there are 3 tanks in our coach, but they're tied together with sumps and hoses. The hoses are reinforced. Getting water out of these will be very hard unless you want to disconnect them and drain each of these hoses. By the way, that will also drain the water that's in those sumps. A tip here is to use the fresh water pump instead of the city water connection for the time before you winterize, to use up the water in the tanks as much as possible before starting. The drain valve will work, but it's very slow, and it takes hours to drain full tanks this way. While the fresh water is draining, the black and the gray tanks should be drained in that order. They should also be cleaned so that whatever is left in there after draining doesn't freeze. We did a video on our black and gray water tanks some time back. The link is above and in the description below. Now open all of the cold and hot water faucets in the RV and outside in the wet bay, including the shower, and flush the toilet a few times. If you plan on using compressed air to dry out the lines, now is the time to do this. A compressor that's used to inflate tires will work for this, but should be set to less than 50 psi. Connect the blowout plug to the city water connection and the compressor. Blowing out the water will help prevent diluting the antifreeze. Without the compressed air, opening the drain valve here will allow gravity to drain the water from most of the system, but this is much slower. After the water stops flowing, close all the faucets and any drains that you opened. Now use the water heater bypass valve. Put it into bypass position. This isolates the water heater from the rest of the system and literally saves gallons of antifreeze. Next, add the antifreeze, using the freshwater pump bypassing the freshwater tanks. Our system has not been modified for the freshwater pump, but this is where it would be installed before the freshwater pump. Filling the system with antifreeze is rather simple after the connection is made. Put the end of the water line into the pink antifreeze, turn on the pump. Now, starting at the highest point in the system, in this case, the shower is actually the highest point. Turn on the hot water faucet until pink water comes out. Turn on the cold until pink water comes out. Close the valves. That's it. Go to the next faucet, kitchen sink, and repeat. We're going from the highest point to the lowest point. The toilet may need several flushes to turn pink. Now pour about 3 cups of antifreeze into the toilet and in each drain, including the washing machine. Yes, the washing machine still has water in it, and that must be protected as well. This protects the drain traps and the black and gray water tanks to a degree. Now the water heater needs to be drained. This is also a good time to clean it out. The plug that comes with it is made of nylon or something similar. This will degrade over time because of the heat of the water and just age. And then it will break. This happened to me, and I had to replace it with a brass plug from Home Depot. Now you can remove all of the food, laundry, and valuable items from the coach. Exploded food items in the cabinets or in the refrigerator are not fun to come back to, let alone a nest of mice or rats in the pantry. And by the way, now is the best time to fix anything broken. Now we want to cover all the openings and vents with appropriate materials to keep pests out. For storage, we also want to invest in a quality cover for the whole rig and also cover the tires. During storage, if it is at all possible, take the weight off the tires by putting up on jack stands or blocks. So that's the basics of winterizing the Alfa See Ya. Did I get it all? If you know something different, let us know in the comments below. If you have questions about RV living or have suggestions for topics for videos, like Mike Smith did, leave a comment. We do videos every week, and we like hearing from you, our viewers, letting us know what you would like to see.
Thanks for watching our video. If you like what you see, press the like button below and subscribe. And also check out our other videos.